Hey everyone, this is Mike Darklighter, and let me start by saying thank you so much for 60,000 plus subscribers. I know I'm pretty late with saying this thank you, and I'm pretty late with this video as well. But to celebrate the occasion, I wanted to do a little Q&A. It's a little something I wanted to do for a while, and I figured this would be a pretty good time to do it. But again, I was a little late on it. The house is pretty busy most of the time, so it's kind of hard to have a quiet moment to record this, but I want to do it now, and we're just going to get right into it. Now, if you're kind of wondering, well, where could I have posted a question for you to answer? Well, about a month ago, I left a community post asking for questions, and that's where I'm going to be drawing the questions from. I'm sorry if you didn't see it, if you really want to ask a question, but it was the most effective way I figured that I could have gone through it. I didn't really want to make a temporary video. But I would recommend that you could go and look at the community tab. I usually post updates on certain things, sometimes a GIF, when the next video is going to be coming out, and even occasionally a fanfiction. So I would highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already, or if you consider it spam, sorry. So first question, the first two actually, is from Amy Rose, and they ask, what is your favorite game of Super Mario Brothers? And what is your favorite Sonic the Hedgehog game? So for Super Mario Brothers, I have to say it would be Super Mario Galaxy. I haven't played the second one, or not even Mario Odyssey because I don't have a Switch, so I'm sticking with that one. It was a really fun game, and one of the few games that got me back into wanting to complete the whole thing, like all the way to the end, and it was a blast. Plus I also really like the music. Being in space and having this orchestral soundtrack was a really nice touch for the game. It's one of my favorite Mario soundtracks. As for your question on Sonic the Hedgehog, well, of course the answer has to be Sonic Forces. I'm kidding. It's not Sonic Forces, it's Sonic CD actually. I kind of go back and forth with Sonic CD or Sonic 2, but generally Sonic CD stands out to me. That may be a pretty odd choice, but I really enjoyed the game. It had some really great music. I like that you got to play as Tails if you have it on Steam or on mobile devices, and it was just a fun game all around. It made me feel good, being able to get a good future for all the different zones, and the music, the way it would change when you achieved a good future. I just really liked it. Next question comes from Boomtails Trademark. What are your wishes for Tails' character development to be in future games? Because obviously in Forces he wasn't himself. And that is something I could definitely agree with. As for my wishes for Tails' character, just, I don't know, just let him stick up for himself once. At least once. I mean, I know he kind of does a little bit here and there in Boom, but it doesn't really feel the same. I just want Tails to be what he's supposed to be. Yes, he's Sonic's sidekick, but he's helpful and he's able to learn to stand up for himself on his own without having to rely on Sonic. So just something like that I would really appreciate. Our next question comes from Plasma Storm, and they ask, can you make another video that features Fiona Fox as a main character? Yes, it's in the works. I can't say when it's gonna come, but let's say late February to mid-March. I already have the script ready, I just need to send it out for lines. It's actually gonna be one of the longer videos that's gonna come from my channel, so I'm excited to work on it. Just a couple things have taken up space right now. But don't worry, Fiona Fox is going to return, and she is the main character of their series. Darky asks, how long have you known Shadow759 and Miss Shadow? It's about 3 years, I think. About 3 years I want to say. They've been really nice to me. Shadow759 is the one who taught me a lot of things on Source Filmmaker. Like, I didn't know what an IK rig was when I was first starting out, and he showed me how to apply this and gave me a few other tips on areas where I could improve on, and since then they've just been some really good friends of mine. Jaden Herrera asks, which Sonic comic book series is your favorite? Archie comics or Fleetway comics? I haven't really read the Fleetway comics, so I want to say Archie. I've seen a few pictures here and there from Fleetway, and kind of gets a little weird. I won't lie, kind of gets a little weird. Not like Archie Comics doesn't get weird itself either, but still, I prefer Archie Comics. Next up, Sober18O has 3 questions. First one, when did you start your channel and what year? That was 3 years ago, as of last year, so that was 2014, I think? I'll have to double check on that. The second question is, what is your favorite anime of all time? I don't really watch a lot of anime. I started watching, or re-watching Dragon Ball lately. And a good friend of mine actually got me to see Assassination Classroom, and I really enjoyed that one, a lot more than I thought I would. So, those 2. And your third question is, how did you do your animation on your videos? I use a program called Source Filmmaker, which was developed by Valve, and it's a pretty handy program. Yeah, that's what I do. Sometimes to put them together I use Filmora, if I need to edit different videos together, like this one probably. And on occasion, my friend Flora T, she'll edit them on HitFilm. So those are the different programs we use for these videos. Unami Theater asks, do you like Ruby? And if you do, who's your favorite character? I think I'm saying that right. And I never really got into Ruby. Maybe I'll check it out. But can't say I do, and I don't have a favorite character. But maybe I'll check it out. Lurk Gal asks, what inspired you to make the Unifier? Funny enough, it was all of you viewers. Yeah, the Unifier wasn't intended to be the series that it is now. In fact, it was just going to be a very loose collection of fight videos that I just wanted to do. And they were kind of loosely connected. But everyone, once it started going, everyone seemed to really like it, and they wanted like an explanation, a story behind it. So it went from just being a loose collection of videos to being a story, or at least my attempt at making it into a story, because I haven't done the best job, and I am sorry about that. But I hope the later episodes will make up for it. The Unifier is actually a pretty interesting chart of how I've grown, or at least I hope I've grown along the years. But yeah, that's what inspired me to make the Unifier. All of you, primarily. Wolf Shinobi asks, between Shadow and Silver, who's your favorite character? I guess I have to go with Silver. He's a bit more of the kind of character that I like. Silver's a bit more, at least I like to think of him as a bit more humble, someone who makes mistakes but tries to learn from them. And I really appreciate that in a character. And he's just a bit of a goofball. Not cocky like Sonic, but he's a bit of a goofball. So I like that about him. Katie Blankney, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that right, asks, what are your favorite video game characters and why do you like them? That's a good question because there's so many. I guess among the top I would have to say is Crash Bandicoot, because that's what I grew up with. We were a Sony family, and Crash Bandicoot was some of the first games that I played. The first 3, Crash Team Racing, and I just liked the character of Crash. He was goofy, he was like a Looney Tunes character that I could play, and that was fun. The game was very challenging, but I have to credit it for helping me to be prepared for other games that would come later in my life. Orion Twilight asks, what do you think about Sonic Forces? Okay. Let me preface by saying I'm not a long-time fan of Sonic. In fact, I've only returned to playing Sonic heavily in like the past 5 years, I want to say. Playing the games, reading the comics. That's been about 5 years that I've come back, you might say. And I gotta say, Sonic Forces, I didn't want anything spectacular out of it, but it plays, but it's not very fun. It's not very engaging, I have to say. Being able to dress up your character is pretty fun. I actually had quite a bit of fun making my mascot a Darklight in the game and giving him different outfits, but I don't know, it just kind of rings hollow. You don't really see your character too well with how fast you move, and it just... it's just... It's hard to say, it's not... I wasn't hyped about the game, but it's still, for lack of a better word, was a disappointment, at least in my eyes. To me, Sonic Forces is the answer to the question, can you try so hard and yet put as little effort as possible? That's what this game is to me. Because the dialogue, the music, especially the music, really tries its hardest to convince you that you're in something important, and you're in this grand, big adventure, and that you can do it and everything, but it just rings hollow with everything else, with how the story is, but mostly where the gameplay is, because it's just not, it's not really that fun. It starts to be at first, but it's not something you can come back to. I've actually just played the game twice. The second time was for another project that's coming, but I didn't have fun with it. I didn't really like it that much. Sorry. But if you enjoyed the game, or if you thought it was really good, that's good for you. You should enjoy the game. All I'm really saying is that I think you deserve better as a Sonic fan. I think that the Sonic franchise deserves better, and I think that Tails especially deserves better. If there is one thing that I can say that's overwhelmingly positive about Sonic Forces, is that it has a lot of ideas, and it's given me a lot of ideas. So, keep an eye out on some future videos. You might see some of the things that came to mind while I was playing through the game. So, look forward to that. Legendary Guy 01 asks, do you know Sasso Studios? If you do, then how do y'all talk? I do know Sasso Studios. Usually we talk through, it used to be Skype, but now Discord is where we talk here and there. He's really cool. I actually got the chance to meet him in person last year in Sonic Revolution, and that was a lot of fun. Jim has been a really good friend, and he's been a great source of inspiration, especially recently. Any chance I get to talk with him, I feel like I come away with something. And something to work on, something to improve on, and I really appreciate that from him. It's nice to be helped and to help. Zane the Hedgehog asks, how's it going with the projects coming up? Hope you're taking breaks here and there. Yes, I am taking breaks here and there. I really appreciate your concern. And the projects are coming along pretty good. Some of them kind of move a little slower than I would like, but I'd say that they're going pretty good. There's quite a few that I'm excited to get to work on, so again, stay tuned. Okay, I'm sorry for saying your name wrong here. Majudi Fahad asks, what's your favorite color? Blue. I like blue. It's my favorite color, always has been. And yet my favorite character is Tails. Durani's is Infinite asks, are you a virgin? Please, I'd like to know. First off, yes, I am a virgin, but why did you have to word your question that way? I mean, it's perfectly fine answering the question, but why did you have to word it like that? Abam Ubi 4, no, sorry, Abam Ubi, sorry about that, asks, what is the first Sonic game you ever played? That was the first one, Sonic the Hedgehog. Not to be confused with Sonic 06. Yeah, I remember vaguely. Like, it's one of the most distant memories I have of my early childhood, but I do remember playing that game. I remember specifically the Labyrinth Zone. It was pretty fun. My parents would play it, and sometimes I would jump in to play as well. That's just how young I was. But I remember that the drowning music. I remember my parents panicking trying to get up. I remember the sound that Sonic would make when he would inhale the breath bubble. So yeah, I remember Sonic the Hedgehog as being my first Sonic game that I played. Singer J 199 asks, who's your favorite character from either games or comics? From both is Tails. I just really like Tails. To me, he's the character that... he's the most likable character for me. I like that he's a humble little kid, but he's really smart, that he just really wants to help his friends out, he wants to help out Sonic, but then he also learns that he needs to be able to do things on his own, things like that. Those are just little traits that I really like about him. Plus he's cute, and he's a fox that flies, what's not to like? But it definitely, even though Archie is discontinued, I really appreciated their portrayal of him in the later issues. Earlier on is a little... but in the mid to later issues, I feel like his character really took off. I like the different arcs that they gave him. I like that he could actually defend himself. I just really appreciated his character more so in the comics than how he was portrayed in the games. Just in case you want a separate character, I also like Nicole the Lynx from the comics, if you want a separate character from for the comics, and basically for the same reasons. I see a lot of similarity in character traits between her and Tails, so I like her for a lot of the same reasons. Alright, I apologize again. Dawood asks, how long did it take you to master SFM? By the way, great work on the Unifier series. Thank you, I really appreciate that, but let me say I have not mastered Source Filmmaker. In fact, this year I hope to really improve in the way that I make the characters move to make them seem a little bit more natural. I really hope to take this year to improve, because I kind of look at older videos that I've had, even more recent ones, and when I look at other talented people who also use Source Filmmaker, well, I see where I'm lacking, and I really hope to improve on that. But to answer your question, to get to where I'm at right now, at this stage, it's taken the whole time that I've been messing with it, so the little over 3 years it's been since I've been using Source Filmmaker. I'm going to bring up the Steam hours that I have on there if you want to see it. Home of Shade the Pony and BM asks, did you read the Sonic manga? No, I have not, but I've seen some screenshots. It's kind of weird. That's all I really have to say. William Barqueta Diniz asks, what do you like, Mario or Sonic? Were you trying to ask what do I like better? Because I don't really care. Excuse me. I really don't care, because I like both characters for different reasons, or at least their games for different reasons. It just really depends on what I'm in the mood for. Cesar Lopez asks, how long does it take you to do these animations? It depends. It depends on if it's an animation that has dialogue, or maybe it's a silent short. If it has dialogue, then that's extra time that needs to get spent on lip syncing and then doing their movements. Whereas if it's a silent short, then I can just get to whatever expression or actions that I want the characters to do. And again, it depends on how long I want it to go for. I'll say that on average it can maybe take 2.5 weeks to get a video out. And again, it really depends. Sometimes it can take a month, sometimes it can take 3 months. It all just depends on what's going into it. For the on the side note, for the next Fiona video, I'm Not exactly sure how long that's gonna take. That's gonna be one that I that's gonna be one that I'm gonna keep track of on how long it takes to get done, because I'm excited for it, but it's gonna be a pretty long video. Okay, I definitely cannot pronounce this name. I'm so sorry. Savinar Mosigian asks, have you ever read a fan comic? Yes, I have. One that I follow closely is Ghost of the Future, which is written and drawn by Evan Stanley. She was one of the Archie comic artists and writers, I think. But yeah, she has her own comic on DeviantArt, and I highly recommend it. It's a pretty good issue, and I like her portrayal of a lot of the characters, especially Poor Silver. It's nice to see him in a leading role. The Sonic-tacular Plush channel asks, what's your favorite classic Sonic OVA, Sonic SatAM, Sonic Adventure, Adventure Sonic, or Modern Sonic? That's a good question. I guess I'll have to go with either Adventure Sonic or OVA Sonic. I just like how corny and really wacky out there OVA Sonic was. But Adventure Sonic, yeah, he was corny too, but I felt in those days he genuinely cared for his friends, whereas now it's kinda hard to tell. Bryce King asks, he says, have all the Tails be classic, please. He's so adorable. I agree with you. Anyway, with that out of the way, what is your favorite iteration of Tails? Probably classic Tails. I don't know if the comic book version of Tails counts, because he is just kind of modern Tails, just written better in my opinion. But I like classic Tails. He's cute. Plus he actually does stuff. J Blue asks, if you were a director, what would you do with the Sonic franchise? That's a good question. I don't know exactly how much authority a director does have, but I would probably want the Sonic franchise to go in a direction, like, as an example for a video game, I would want a video game where, yes, Sonic is a main character and everything, but he actually gets to go on the adventure with all of his friends. Everyone from Tails, Knuckles, Amy, even Shadow, Rouge, and even the Chaotix if you want. All of them accompany him in this adventure in a meaningful way. Like, one thing I didn't mention when I was talking about Sonic Forces was I thought the tag team mechanic was something good, something to be explored maybe, in a much better way. I feel like an improved system of the tag team mechanic would do well in bringing in Tails and Knuckles into Sonic's adventures. You know, you could still have, again, Sonic be the main character, but this time you get to flesh out the relationship with Tails or Knuckles, again, or Amy, all the other characters. They all get a chance to shine, and, you know, you don't have to worry about Sonic losing the spotlight or anything. I feel like it would make a fun game, at least, or a fun idea, to finally see all these characters do something with Sonic, you know? And then you could make it so that the stages could have different routes depending on which character you bring. Like, you can have Knuckles to knock down some walls and reveal a secret area, or Tails to fly you out of danger, things like that. But that's what I would do, if I had that authority. Kelly Ramirez asks, what's your favorite song from the Sonic games? Again, it's a pretty hard one. It really depends on how I'm feeling, but I'll go with Believe in Myself, the Sonic Adventure 2 version, for Tails, just because I like it. I think it's a song that perfectly captures Tails' character and what he's all about. Nathan Raber asks, how many parts do you think it will take to complete the Unifier series? No rush though. That's okay. It's a good question. I want to say 6. Yeah, let's try for 6. It is heading towards the end. And, yeah, let's say 6, maybe 7. It is a series that I want to end soon. I know I keep saying each year that this is going to be the year that it'll end, so I'm not going to do that this time. Instead, I'm just going to try to do what I can, and if we do get to the end of it this year, great! We get to explore another story. I still want to do Tales Juncture, even though that one's currently being rewritten. But yeah, we'll see how it goes for the Unifier. Their second question is, when do you think Fiona will meet Amy? Late February, mid-March. Probably mid-March. Again, it depends on how long that video is going to take to get done. I still need to send out the script and get the lines and everything, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, here we go now. Leyland Pearson asks, favorite Sonic couple? I don't really ship any of the Sonic characters. And before I sidestep this question, let me just say that maybe somewhere along the lines in one of my videos or set of videos I've left little hints for you all. Hints that have gone unnoticed, but would seem a little obvious if you go back and look at them. So maybe I've left a little hints. Maybe. Matt L. Bandicoot asks, do you know Crash Bandicoot? I don't know him personally, but I know the character in the game. I mentioned earlier that was the first game franchise that I was really introduced to, and I enjoyed it. It became my personal goal to 100% each of the games, and when I did that, I wanted to do it for all 4 save files that was available at the time, because PlayStation. But yeah, I really enjoyed that franchise, and I was really happy to see it return with the Insane Trilogy. I would like for another Crash Bandicoot to come out, a new one, or maybe even dare to hope that they'll remaster Crash Team Racing. That would be a good game, and I don't think Sony or wherever they're gonna have it has a big racing game, or at least a Mario Kart-esque racing game, I should say. So yeah, that would be pretty nice. Oh boy, Aaron Asia P asks, how many years since you have this channel? 3 years. A little over 3 years. It'll be 4 years this October, so 3 years. Okay, LFT asks, how long does these animations take, and do you make these characters, e.g. the Sonic model? I answered that first question. It really depends. Sometimes it takes a couple weeks, week and a half, months. It really depends on what's in it. But the second question I really want to answer, because there's a bit of confusion that happens with it. Because some people have seen me post renders of kind of customs, you might say. Different Sonic fan characters, and it's led many to assume that I make the models, or that I can make models, and that's not really true. In Source Filmmaker, you can attach different models together. Like, you can attach a hat to a model, or you can attach a cape, a jacket, and you can also override the materials and repaint them so that they look different. And using a combination of this, I am able to make certain Sonic fan characters. As a recent example, Zane the Hedgehog made a request for her character, Z-Girl the Hedge, I think it was. And for that character, I assembled it using Sally's body, Scourge's jacket, Payback's hair, and Alina's head. And all these models are basically stuck together and posed in a way so that it looks like a single character model, but it's not a model that you can spawn whenever you want, or it's not one that you can send to other people so that they can use it, or that sort of thing. It's a sort of a some assembly required kind of thing, and that's what I do. I don't make any of the models. If you look in the description, I credit the people who spent all their hard work ripping, rigging, porting, and texturing these models. So they're the ones who have generously provided these models. And finally, our last question comes from Johnny Cars 100, and he asks, "Not sure if I'm too late, but what computer do you use?" It's a custom-built computer. I don't know what the case is anymore. I kind of forgot how to check that, but my specs are: I have a i7 quad-core Intel processor. I run on an M-Power motherboard, I think it is. I don't remember the model number right now. I think it's a 960 NVIDIA GTX graphics card, just a regular 1TB hard drive, and 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's the computer I run. It's more built to be kind of like a gaming computer, but it works with Source Filmmaker, so yeah, that's the kind of computer I have. And I have my dad to thank for it, because he's the one who built my computer for me. I just bought the parts and he put them all together. Well, I want to thank you all for your questions. I'm sorry if I skipped over some of them, but a few of them were duplicates, and again, I'm really sorry if I didn't say your name correctly. I do apologize. But thank you again for all your questions, and again for 60,000 plus subscribers. It really means a lot to me that you find these videos to be worth the watch, worth the time to spend, and I hope to just be able to continue to improve and to provide you with videos that you'll enjoy. And we'll see where this year comes. We'll see what happens with this year and what little surprises we get to have. Now, I'd like to ask you all a few questions. First question, what brought you to my channel? What was it that drew you here? And my second question is, what would you like to see in upcoming videos? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'd like to read them. Thank you again for this Q&A, and if we want to do another one, let me know.